Broadcasting live from the Garden State. It's Real Sports Talk with Kenny Cluster on the Damage 360.
Why, hello there, everybody, and welcome to episode number 92 of Real Sports Talk with Kenny Kluska. Of course, I'm your host, Kenny Kluska, here on the very last day of February, a new month coming up. If you live in the New Jersey area like I do, sure hasn't felt like winter a lot of these days. Today's high reached about 60. Tomorrow's expected to be about 75. And the craziness that comes with New Jersey is, Friday we might be getting a little snow. Just the craziness that happens. Good reason why a lot of people get sick. I was sick myself a couple weeks ago. But, it's just a craziness we have to deal with, but definitely not seasonally weather. We still have winter for another, 3 weeks until it's officially spring. But here we are having days in the 75 degree range like we live in Miami. It's just crazy right now. But welcome, episode 92, Real Sports Talk with Kenny Kluska. If you've noticed, spring training in baseball is currently going on. Yeah, that's right. NFL season is over. Time to usher in a new sport of baseball. New exciting season. Of course, the Cubs last year ended their extremely long drought without a World Series win. They will be looking to repeat, and, they got just as strong a team, if not stronger, being they didn't have Kyle Schwarber basically all of last season. There'll be plenty of contenders. We'll do some type of baseball preview in the upcoming weeks with the regular season starting in just a little over a month. So baseball fans, if you've been pining for the season to begin, well, at least you could watch spring training baseball at the moment. A lot of storylines going on. This season, should be an entertaining one. It's something I've been looking forward to. Once my Giants were eliminated from the playoffs in football, everyone knows I'm a Knicks fan. Everyone knows, the issues they've been having. Whether it's the Charles Oakley versus James Dolan, Phil Jackson, a 71-year-old man tweeting emojis and naming players that no one ever heard of, to compare him to Carmelo Anthony, your star player, doesn't seem to make much sense. Just so much drama in New York. And by the way, they're going on for another losing non-playoff season, but at least save their first round pick. Baseball, I am a Marlins fan. The starting staff for them looks very of course, unfortunately, their ace no longer with the team. I won't even get into it. I basically did a whole episode dedicated to Jose, after it happened. That unfortunately left a big hole on the Marlins roster. Guys like Edinson Volquez, Wei-Yin Chen, Adam Conley, Dan Straley are going to have to pick up the slack. And, of course, a lot is going to depend on Giancarlo Stanton staying healthy. Of course, probably no greater power hitter in the game. Unfortunately, he's missed, ample time over the last few seasons due to various ailments and injuries. So if he could play 140, 150 games, maybe they could be in contention for a wild card. Right now Washington looks pretty stacked. It's going to be tough for them, to be beaten in the NL East. But of course, if the Mets starting staff, stays healthy, which wasn't exactly the case last year. Matt Harvey struggled and then missed most of the year. Jacob deGrom missed time. Steven Matz missed time. Zach Wheeler missed all of last season. If those guys could stay healthy, they could have potentially the best staff in baseball. If Matt Harvey could go back to his old self. But a lot of storylines in baseball. We'll go over them in the next few weeks. It's also that time of season where, the rich usually get richer in the NBA. Trade deadline passed this Thursday. Was relatively quiet other than, the huge deal of DeMarcus Cousins going to the Pelicans. That happened a few days before the final day of the trade deadline. So DeMarcus Cousins pairing up with Anthony Davis, dynamic duo in the front court. So far hasn't exactly paid dividends, as I believe the Pelicans are 0-3 since they made the trade, even though Cousins and Davis are still putting up their numbers. But, it may take time, and, we'll see if it'll ever work out. No huge trades during the trade deadline. Possibly the biggest one was the Oklahoma City Thunder acquiring Taj Gibson and Doug McDermott from the Chicago Bulls. Definitely a great trade for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Russell Westbrook needing all the help he can get. As he almost single-handedly, is carrying the Oklahoma City Thunder. Recently got his 29th triple-double of the season. The MVP race kind of neck and neck between him and James Harden. Russell Westbrook aiming to become the second player in NBA history to average a triple-double over a course of a season. James Harden's Rockets have a better record, but, probably have the better overall team. But definitely added depth to the Thunder. Gibson and Doug McDermott. McDermott never exactly fully, did as expected in his 1.5 years with the Bulls. Was playing a little bit better this year, though, and who knows, with Russell Westbrook penetrating into the lane, seemingly every play, that may give McDermott plenty of open shots from the three-point line, so he could benefit from a true playmaker like Westbrook. But, other than that, my Knicks stayed pat, didn't make a move. No huge trades. A lot of people are looking at, would the Celtics do something, especially being that they have the New Jersey Nets first-round draft pick this year. Nets have the worst record in the NBA, and it looks like it's going to stay that way. So, they'll at least have the most ping-pong balls for that number one pick. So, of course, in a fairly deep draft, that is a very valuable commodity to have. It was rumored that maybe they'd look to acquire a Paul George or Jimmy Butler. By dangling that pick, it didn't happen. Boston stayed pat. Definitely have, a good team right now, second in the East. They may be one player short, though, of, having an opportunity to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers and making the NBA Finals. Of course, definitely seems like Cleveland and Golden State, most people believe that will be the NBA Finals for the third straight year. And as I mentioned, the rich get richer. A lot of veteran players get released right after the trade deadline. We've already seen it. Cleveland Cavaliers acquired signed Darren Williams after the Dallas Mavericks released him. Andrew Bogut was traded from Dallas to the 76ers. Bogut wants no part of Philadelphia. They just reached buyout terms, and the favorite to sign him, also the Cleveland Cavaliers. As I mentioned, I might have been last show or 2 shows ago about LeBron James basically crying, "Oh, I need a backup point guard." Well, relax, you got it. And you got, of course, Darren Williams isn't Darren Williams, that we saw with the Utah Jazz, along with Karolinko, Boozer, and Mehmet Okur, but he's still, a superb backup point guard in this league, and, could help cut down Kyrie Irving's minutes. Bogut would definitely be, a good rim protector for them, especially if he stays healthy, which hasn't really been able to do so. Warriors signed or the favorites to sign Jose Calderon. As a Knicks fan as well, I don't really see that as addition after watching him 2 years with the Knicks, but, he could at least provide veteran leadership to them. Knicks released Brandon Jennings yesterday. He will sign with the Washington Wizards. Wizards, either the third or the fourth seed in the East, but they've been struggling a bit since the All-Star break, so at least having Brandon Jennings to spell John Wall, won't make it as large a decline as it had been before. Yes, I'm looking now. Wizards are half game behind the Raptors for the third seed. Raptors had a huge loss. Kyle Lowry may miss the rest of the regular season, aiming to be back for the playoffs. They made a couple nice moves via trade. Serge Ibaka, coming from the Orlando Magic, and PJ Tucker from the Phoenix Suns. So even though there wasn't any high, moves that, would leave a lot of people, interested, there was a couple moves a little under the radar that will definitely help out teams, even though Serge Ibaka wasn't necessarily under the radar, and that actually happened a few days before the deadline. But, teams made some moves to, better their teams for the playoff run. But as I mentioned, Golden State Warriors 50-9, Cleveland Cavaliers 41-17. Most people expect that to be the finals for the third straight year. Before I go to break, I know I have a couple NASCAR listeners in Keith and Alex. Yes, congratulations to Kurt Busch, winning his first ever Daytona 500 on a last lap pass. I did not see the Daytona 500, but I heard there was a lot of crashes, that occurred, but in the end, Kurt Busch prevailed, won his first Daytona 500. Congratulations to him. We're going to go to a short commercial break. When I come back, we're going to take a little look at the NFL, and I'm going to name some things that I want certain teams to do in the off-season.
This is the hardcore icon, Justin Credible, and you're listening to Damage 365 Radio. Now that's not just the coolest, that's not just the best. Damage 365 Radio, now that's just incredible. Funkenstein Wrestling Superstore, selling wrestling memorabilia from all around the world, including WWE, TNA, Japan, Mexico, and the very best of the independents. They've got action figures, DVDs, autographed memorabilia, t-shirts, and more. Plus, stop in and get tickets for great promotions like UWA Elite, CZW, and many others. Located indoors at the world-famous English Town Flea Market, Green Building, booth number 35 on 90 Wilson Avenue, Manalapan Township, New Jersey. Open every Saturday and Sunday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Log on to Facebook.com/Funkenstein Inc. for more information. Join Brandon Lewis and Christopher Scythe Racing every Tuesday night on YouTube.com/2KW at 8:30 p.m. as they bring you the matches and moments that make 2KW Pro the heart of New York City. 2KW Pro, your company, your wrestling. This is Jim the Animal Nighter, and you're listening to Damage Radio 365. Yeah,